where Lent simply means fasting on states of mind that no longer serve us, those lower states of mind, those negative states of mind, and feasting on what Jesus said, the truth that sets us free. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Now, there's a Surgeon General's warning on this. If you're oblivious, I know some days I can be oblivious. If you're oblivious, you might have to receive a bolt of lightning or a 2x4 over your head to wake up, right? And so we don't want to do, we want to really practice these things during Lent so we don't have to go there. Do you remember, if you're old enough to remember, the old Bing Crosby, Bob Hope road series movies, the road to Morocco, the road to wherever, they went on all kinds of trips, and how fun they were. Well, Scripture has a story of Saul on the road to Damascus. And it's very similar to what I'm talking about. You see, Saul is oblivious, like I can be some days, just walking around full speed ahead. His will is so strong, and he's so stubborn and righteous with religious dogma. And he has decided this new Christian organization is wrong and he is right, and he's going to persecute him and kill him and take him out. And he's just full speed ahead. By the way, what's the difference between ignorance and apathy?
I don't know and I don't care.
Very good. I don't know and I don't care. I should have known you got that. And that was Saul. Remember, you've heard of the song, I've Seen the Light. How many remember the song, I've Seen the Light? It was written by Hank Williams. Well, Saul was hit by a bolt of lightning as he's walking along, totally oblivious. And he was so transformed, he was never the same again. So transformed that he had a name change. You know, in Scripture, your name is your nature. So when there's a big transformation, people change their names. So he went from Saul to Paul. Now, I know when I went into ministry, when I had to call to ministry, I was born Ann Marie. When I was real little, they called me Ann Marie. And then as I got older and went to school, somehow it got shortened to Ann. But when I went into ministry, I wanted to claim all of me. I knew it was going to take all of me to do it. And so I started calling myself Ann Marie again. You know, I got to be all of me to do this. So your name is your nature. Names are very important. But Paul was so transformed, and transformation is simply a fresh new way of living, a fresh new way of being. Michael asked me the other day, but was he still himself? Are we still ourselves when we transform? And yes, he was still righteous. He still had a strong will. He just had a new dogma to do it with, and he didn't need to kill people anymore. A small detail. This is simple. So we can laugh at Paul. Some people love him or hate him. There's no in between. But we have to look inside metaphysically. What is Paul in me? If you look at Saul or Paul, what is he in me? And so metaphysically, every person, place, or thing in Scripture is really an aspect of our consciousness. All the Scriptures all over the world are all about looking within. And so when we look at Saul, it was had strong personal will, righteous and stubborn, with a need to be right. Anybody here has that? Anybody have the need to be right? I know you don't want to raise your hand. That's okay. We're not going to all get. I like to say, I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right.
Exactly.
And then I also heard the other day, if a woman is always right and a man is always wrong, then if a man tells a woman that she's right, is that man right or wrong? That'll keep you up till 3 in the morning. Well, Kelly knows the Course in Miracles has the greatest line on this. Would you rather be right or would you rather be at peace? Which would you rather be, right or be at peace? And how you answer that question probably determines whether you're Saul or Paul on the inside. So let's get back to that road to Damascus. And I see, and we can all interpret it differently, I always say life is our spiritual journey. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to go to some exotic place. Your life is your spiritual path. And has anyone here ever been full speed ahead in the wrong direction. And then when you least expect it, you get that 2x4 or that bolt of lightning. Eric Butterworth has always said, a kick in the pants is good if you're headed in the right direction. If you're headed in the right direction. Well, Saul certainly wasn't. But he's that part of us that all 4 things. He resists new changes. This Christianity was something new. He wasn't behind it. Clings to the old way of thinking. Wants to keep everything the way it is. Very dogmatic. Needs to be in control and needs to be right. Now, if you said yes to 3 or more of those, you could be headed for a blinding light experience. Of course, stubborn has its benefits. With stubbornness comes tenacity and persistence, right? I read somewhere, good morning, today's achievements, if any, will be brought to you by caffeine and sheer stubbornness. So stubbornness has its place, all right? But Saul was hit by such a light, he was blinded for 3 days. And then physically, that's just one of those time it takes to get the job done kind of things. To integrate it. You know, when all of a sudden you have this awakening moment where you finally realize something, it takes time to integrate it. You know, in Unity, on the path to ministry, or anyone who's studying the spiritual path, they don't want you to just read a book and say, well, I got that, I read the book. Yeah, right. Read the book is the first thing. You have to integrate it. I know a lot up here, but bringing it down to reality, that takes a lifetime sometimes. So 3 days he was blinded until Ananias came along and healed him of his blindness. And metaphysically, he represents that divine wisdom in us where we finally get it. That aha moment. In cartoons, they used to put the light bulb over their head. I could have had a V8. You know, that moment when you finally get it. And it takes time to integrate. Anybody here ever had a light bulb moment or a 2x4 over the head? So, I hate to say that we need it. We don't have to have that. There are ways around it. We'll get to that in a minute. My problem is, you're not going to tell anybody this, right? My problem is I want to follow Jesus, but I also sometimes want to slap people. And I really thought it would help. Where's Brandon? I really thought it would help having him as my assistant minister. There he is. But it hasn't helped, and here's why. Because Brandon keeps saying that food's so good, it makes you want to slap your mama. So, we want to follow the right spirituality, but we also get mad. Sometimes we just want to slap people. Now, our higher self is trying to get our attention all the time. So we have to ask ourselves, am I resisting change? Am I holding on to something that no longer serves me? Altogether no. Am I ignoring those subtle hints, those subtle nudges? Because if we don't ignore the subtle ones, what happens? The bolt of lightning or the 2x4. Good news. You don't have to be hit by a 2x4 or a bolt of lightning. Simply take a breath and open your heart. Let go of the need to control. Altogether now. Oops. Let go of the need to be right. Altogether now. Oops. And allow divine love to lead the way. It could take more than 3 days. Okay? So let's close today by having a prayer where just repeat these affirmations if you're comfortable. I'll say them first and then repeat them with me. I release the need to be right. Together.
I release the need to be right.
I am open to divine wisdom. Together.
I am open to divine wisdom.
I trust my life journey. Together.
I trust my life journey.
I allow divine love to lead the way.
I allow divine love to lead the way.
And now just take the time while we're setting up for our song, a perfect song to follow this with, and allow those words to integrate mind, body, spirit. Allow.